Check for sound. Check for power.
All systems online.
Guys, what's up? Welcome to the Loper Show, brought to you by our friends over at Shakers Public House. And if you haven't been to Shakers yet, you got to go check it out. Wing Wednesday, they have the Power Hour from 5 to 6 every single day where there's like dollar drafts, dollar well shots. I mean, it is an absolute dream come true if you like to just kick back after work, 5 to 6 each and every day at Shakers Public House, bringing you the Loper Show. And hey, we got so much to tackle, and I want to start with the big fight over the weekend on Netflix. Of course, Canelo Alvarez putting his championship at super middleweight on the line against Terrence Bud Crawford. And this fight, this has been publicized everywhere. I mean, it was the big outing for not only Netflix, but Turki Al-Sheikh teaming up with Dana White, putting on what could be the next golden age of boxing. That's what we were told all night by Max Kellerman on Saturday night. And I have to tell you, the card was sweet. I mean, the fights were absolutely packed. It was a jammed card, and everything in boxing that was wrong, I feel Dana righted so many of those things. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You know, there's so many times that we've watched boxing events, and they move so slow. You have a fight, and then there's a 15, 20-minute interlude in between, and you're like, oh my God, I can't even imagine being in the arena. Well, it seemed like a lot of those issues that boxing has had over the years, they were fixed on Saturday night. And the big fight, the main event, Terrence Bud Crawford emerged as a 3-division undisputed champion, snagging all 4 belts from Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight. So now he holds the light welterweight, and super middleweight. I mean, the guy is an absolute beast. I don't even know what you do with Terrence Crawford at this point. I mean, where does he go? There's not another big fight out there that is going to reel people in the way that this Canelo Alvarez fight did. The last guy Canelo lost to, that would probably be the most logical fight for Canelo to go back and avenge that loss. But I don't know that we'll ever see Canelo again. It's interesting. This emerges as one of the most important, biggest boxing events that has happened in decades. You know, outside of all the celebrity stuff that's happened lately with Jake Paul and those kind of fights. But this was an event for the ages. And the weird thing is I don't know where boxing goes after this. I don't know that there's another big fight that even Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh could even put on. I mean, of course they're going to try, but I don't know that it happens. And I mean, everything from every celebrity you could ever imagine was in attendance on Saturday night. And a lot of the stuff that was an absolute nightmare during the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight was not a problem this time around. I mean, do you guys remember that? All those outages, like where the fight would just, it was like stuttering. You'd have to log out of your Netflix and log back in just to watch it was so frustrating. But none of those streaming issues were a problem on Saturday night. And I think they come out of this smelling like roses. Like I said, I think the big question is, where does Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh go for here for the next major boxing event that they put on? And listen, I'm all eyes and ears. I can't wait to find out. Another huge event that happened over the weekend was the Grace for the World concert. I mean, did you guys get to check this out? It was live from Vatican City. They had an enormous drone show. First of all, they paid tribute to popes of the past, where they had these drones. First of all, these drone shows are so over the top, out of control, and just amazing these days. Like, literally, it was the Pope's face. And not just one, many popes. They were spreading the love over many popes, and it was super cool to see right there in Vatican City. They were reporting that there was like 300,000 people there, and performances from people like Karol G, John Legend, The Clips, the first ever hip hop group to perform at the Vatican. Man, that was really something to see. Pharrell Williams, of course, he got up, performed, but not only performed, but had a really inspiring speech that he gave. And I thought, if you got to see that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Teddy Swims performed, and of course, our boy Jelly Roll. It was so cool to see Jelly Roll up there from Antioch to the Vatican. Man, could not be more proud of that guy, and he just absolutely nailed it out there. I had chills the entire time I'm watching it. And, maybe a little bit of a teary eye, guys, but with the shades, you'll never know.
Hear that? That's not just any siren. It's the sound of Wing Wednesday at Shaker's Public House. Every Wednesday, when the siren hits, the dollar wings drop. All day, no limits, just flavor. And don't miss Power Hour every single day from 5 to 6 p.m. Drafts, domestic beers, well liquor, and wine, just $1. When the siren sounds, you know where to go. Shaker's Public House, where happy hour hits hard and the wings hit harder.
So this kind of blew my mind. Country superstar Zach Bryan got himself in some hot water over the weekend where he approached Gavin Adcock, who is a guy that I really dig his music right now. And they were both at a festival called Born and Raised Festival, all right? The Born and Raised Festival. And these guys were not performing at the same time. Allegedly, and I wasn't there, so I have no idea. I've seen the video. Kind of seems to be true. People are saying Zach Bryan was kind of drunk. And these guys have had words online in the last couple of months leading up to this event, this face-to-face meeting. And it was interesting. So Gavin Adcock was doing a headlining set, and he was set to go on. He was preparing backstage when just on the other side of a security fence, a pickup truck pulls up. And it was almost like a movie. It's Zach Bryan. He jumps out of the truck. He starts jawing at Gavin. And, Gavin walks up to the fence. They're just going back and forth, to the point where Zach Bryan got so upset, he hopped a barbed wire fence to get close and in the face of Gavin Adcock. Now, he was successful at scaling this fence with the barbed wire on top, which I got to say, the guy's ex-Navy. There was some rumors going around that he was Navy SEALs. I know he did some pre-qualifications for the Navy SEALs, but didn't end up going through with it. I'm not sure what happened with that, but he's definitely a patriot and a former Navy officer. Apparently, he's kept up on his skills because he scaled this fence, hopped over the barbed wire part, and then he was able to get down, and he got pretty close to Gavin Adcock. And Adcock, I thought, actually had a pretty good head on him because, if these guys would have fought, both guys would have got arrested, right? I mean, Gavin would have probably blown his headlining set, not been able to perform for the thousands of people that were there and everybody that paid money to travel and the tickets. And that would have been super disappointing if you were at the Born and Raised Festival. So he walked away. I thought that was a very adult thing to do. Zach Bryan, he didn't feel that way. He had some not so nice words for Gavin Adcock. Gavin Adcock went back onto social media and just tore into Zach Bryan, calling him, everything from immature to absolutely wasted. Like I said, I'm not so sure about his sobriety that night, but it seemed like Zach Bryan had some extra energy to hop that fence and get over. And he didn't get past security, but man, you got to give him credit for getting over the barbed wire fence, though. So I have a follow-up on some Motley Crue news. We were talking about Vince Neil's performances at some festivals that he did with Bret Michaels of Poison just a couple of weeks ago, where people online and even myself, after hearing Vince's performance, a lot of people were saying, man, it kind of seems like something is going on with Vince. People were pointing out that one side of his face looked a little peculiar, and Vince Neil has now come out just before Motley Crue this past Friday night kicked off their residency at the Park MGM Theater there in Las Vegas, saying that he, in fact, the day before Christmas, suffered a stroke. And this entire year, he's been battling back to try to get not only his self on stage and performing, but actually walking again. He was having trouble walking. He said he started out in a wheelchair where I guess right after the stroke, somebody had to carry him into the restroom to use the restroom. Then he said he graduated to a wheelchair and then eventually a walker. And he was so strong and persistent that he was able to actually get back on stage and perform. And when you hear about all that and you see his performance, you kind of go, wow, man, that's actually an incredible feat. He actually hired one of the coaches from the Tennessee Titans. Vince Neil lives just outside of Nashville, and he had him at the house helping him with strength and conditioning just to be able to get back. The doctor said, you're never going to get on stage and perform ever again, Vince. And we all know what Vince said, F you. I'm definitely going to get back on stage and perform again. And Damn it, he did. And I watched some video from the residency there at the Dolby Theater in the MGM right there in Vegas, and it was awesome. I mean, the guy sounded great. Now, there's a lot of controversy saying that Motley Crue's playing to backing tracks. Whatever. It looked like they were back on stage, and Motley Crue's riding again, and they have a couple, they're going to be there for, it seems like the next 2 months. So if you're going to Vegas, I would definitely get out there. These guys did an incredible job, though, kicking things off on Friday night with a 14-song set. I saw Aerosmith there about 2 years ago, and that Dolby Theater is incredible. The sound is coming at you from every angle. There's something about these residencies when artists get comfortable, especially in a setting where it's consistent, you just get a better performance, man. I think the road definitely drags people down, and you really get these guys night after night being able to give a full rested performance. And I think that's important for Motley Crue at this stage in their career. And I got to tell you, I want to get out there so bad to be able to see this, because the Dolby Theater combined with Motley Crue, what could be their final stand. I know. They signed the contract. They were going away, 2 years ago, and now they're back. I get it. But this is for real fans. This could be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So this news kind of blows my mind. Twisted Sister. Yes, Twisted Sister. Dee Snider. The guys have announced a reunion tour, and they're going to have some U.S. dates. Now, if you don't know too much about Twisted Sister, of course, huge early 80s rock band, hair band, if you will. That's a dirty word in some circles. But, I mean, Twisted Sister was huge. With all of the theatrics, most people know them for, We're Not Gonna Take It. But they have so many great songs. Twisted Sister, much bigger outside of the U.S. Around the world, in Europe, I mean, these guys are absolutely huge. And most of their dates will be outside of the U.S., but they do have U.S. dates, and those have been announced. So check out their website, and if you want to go catch a show, do that. Another band that you might see back out on the road, and this kind of surprises me, Jane's Addiction. The Jane's Addiction, everyone outside of Perry Farrell, is allegedly all practicing together, and they want to move on. Now, you'll remember last fall, Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro got into an on-stage fight, literally like a physical altercation, and that split the band. I mean, they were in the middle of a reunion tour. Everything was going awesome. And those guys just could not keep it together. It was a little bit more Perry Farrell than Dave Navarro, but hey, who's counting, right? So these guys are rumored to possibly be recruiting a new singer. Now, I want you to leave it in the comment section below. If you were going to place a new singer in place of Perry Farrell for Jane's Addiction, who would you choose? Now, I'm not so sure that they'll be able to tour under the name Jane's Addiction. Maybe they will. Probably not. But if you had to choose, who would you choose? So I have an update on the Corn Whacker. You know what I'm talking about. At MetLife Stadium in Jersey, Korn was opening a show for System of a Down when one portion of the arena, or stadium rather, was absolutely grossed out by a guy who decided to pleasure himself during Korn's performance. Well, the woman who actually recorded that video that went viral just a couple of weeks ago, she is speaking out now, and what she's saying is absolutely hilarious. So this is how apparently this went down. She said she was also juggling a hot dog, like literally had just gotten back from the concession stands, and she had a hot dog in her hand as she's filming this guy doing what he was doing. I mean, the irony in that is absolutely crazy. But she said, yeah, everybody was throwing drinks, super displeased, and that guy obviously going to do some jail time. I don't even know what would come over you. Maybe those are the wrong words to use, but I don't know what would get into you to make you do that at any concert. Such a weird thing. Sharon Osbourne is speaking out and thanking fans for all of the posts, the tributes, and she says it's been incredibly comforting for her. It's got her through many nights, and she said she's still finding her footing, but she shared a picture online of her doing some falconry. Yeah, like actually a falcon was like landing on her arm. I mean, of all things. And she said she's found some relief in these birds. So, hey, shout out to Sharon Osbourne and the entire family. It's been It's been a rough couple of months with the whole Ozzy thing. And, going back to the VMAs, I don't think we really got to talk about this, but the tribute to Ozzy was the highlight of the MTV Video Music Awards, period. It was absolutely awesome. Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Youngblood. And I got to say something, man. There was a lot of friction online about Youngblood's performance. A lot of people saying he was trying to steal and bask in the spotlight of Ozzy's death. I mean, I think the kid is an absolute brilliant talent. And I think that back to the beginning where he was pretty much first introduced to the entire world. I knew who Youngblood was. I've met him a couple times at festivals. Really nice guy. But I think on the world scale and the world stage, I think that was his big outing. His version of Changes, absolutely awesome. Back to the Beginning was his launching pad. And I think the VMAs becomes another platform for him to just not only speak and have people remember the words and the music of Ozzy Osbourne, but also a good platform for him to deliver his music to the rest of the world. And hey, mark my words, a lot of these other award shows, all they are copycats and carbon copies of whatever works. So with this Ozzy tribute working so well, and with the MTV VMAs being not only broadcast on CBS network, but I mean, every outlet they had, from MTV, VH1, MTV2, I mean, Comedy Central, everything in the Viacom property list, this was everywhere. It was almost like you couldn't miss it. But you watch, when the Grammys come up, when some of these other award shows come around, I guarantee you there's going to be tributes to Ozzy at each and every one of these. These guys are absolute copycats when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I would not be shocked to see Ozzy tributes from here until the rest of the year. Got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Shakers Public House at 480 East Wilson Bridge Road. Go over there, check out one of the best happy hours in Columbus. The Power Hour, 7 days a week. I was telling you this at the beginning of the show. From 5 to 6, they sell their drafts, well liquors, wines, domestic bottles, all $1. And they are the winner for the best beer selection in Columbus. And on Tuesdays, you can grab half-price boneless wings all day long. Wing Wednesday, $1 bone-in wings. And they're absolutely delicious. You guys also have to check out the Smash Burger. It's incredible. Shakers Public House, proud sponsor of the Loper Show, and we love having those guys aboard with us. So a couple of new albums that are going to be dropping. Smashing Pumpkins, Chrome Jets is going to be the name of the new record from those guys, and that will be out very soon. Also, The Doors and Jimi Hendrix are going to get a revamp as they release some of their best material in Atmos. Now, there's a lot of bands that are doing this, and if you go to pick up any Atmos remix, now, if you have Apple Music and you actually get the Apple headphones or the new earbuds, you can hear the Atmos versions of those. Or if you have a stereo system that's in surround, like true surround in your home, you can hear it that way too. And I mean, it's really an incredible sound. It gives a really full vibe and just out of this world. But if you want it for the house and you're not going to listen to it on Apple Music, you have to have it on Blu-ray. That's the only way that these Atmos versions are coming out. So you're seeing a lot of bands releasing box sets, and they'll, say, hey, it includes a Blu-ray, and that's the Atmos remix. So The Doors, Jimi Hendrix, the latest to remix in Atmos. So recently, Stephen Colbert left The Late Show on CBS. Well, I guess he was fired, really, right? And on stage at the Emmys, he was, kind of begging for his next gig. And there's a rumor out there that he could be getting a job at TMZ. Now, that's reported by TMZ, so take that for what it's worth. But we could see Stephen Colbert return if you're a fan, if you're not a fan. Kind of a divisive figure at this point. At one time, super funny. Of course, got his start on The Daily Show. And for years, took over for David Letterman. Kind of iconic until he got too political, I think. I think that's sort of everyone in America's feelings on everything. If you get too political, nobody wants to hear from you anymore. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of The Loper Show. And all I need you guys to do to support the show is just click the subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or if you're listening on Apple Podcast, just please subscribe and make sure you throw a like, especially if you're watching on YouTube, man. It really helps with the algorithm. Feel free to leave a comment below on anything that you would love to see on the show. And guys, I'll check in next time for episode 40. I can't believe it. coming right around the corner of the Loper Show. Thanks so much for watching.